Everyone talks about the benefits of self improvement, how it changed their lives, for the best. It was the best decision that they've ever made. Yet, hardly anyone addresses the drawbacks from following that life path. And I'm guilty of that as well, partially because, or mainly I should say, because for the longest time I didn't realize the drawbacks that I was going through, and it was only up until recently that I was able to really see the full picture for what it is. So you may agree or disagree from my point of view, and that's totally fine. But I guarantee that you will look at this from a different perspective by the end of the video. So let's just get straight into it. I want to address three things that I've noticed. Now, the first one is that I've changed my mentality to work so much and so much and so much to the point that I feel guilty for resting, which is not normal. And maybe someone out there can relate to this. I noticed this week. I came from a big day. I woke up at 7 a.m. I worked the entire day. I had an exam in college that was 2 hours. I got home, I ate dinner. I was completely exhausted, and I just wanted to lay on my bed and watch a movie, because I had 2 hours of free time until I had to go to sleep, which is quite rare if I'm being honest. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to kick back my feet and just relax, just watch a movie. And this little voice inside my head, to this day I don't know if it's an angel or a devil, but it just kept saying, you know what? Instead of watching a movie in those 2 hours, you could read a new book. You could go and make a video. You could go work out, even though it's night. It doesn't matter. And I can't turn it off. It's like this constant pressure to always put in more work. Doesn't matter how much I've worked that day, it's never enough. And I just think that there's something fundamentally wrong with it, because it's not normal for us to be like that. And the thing is, I had to change my mindset to be this sharp in order for me to move away from the person that I was to the person that I am today. Yet it very much had its consequences, because every time I try to rest a little bit, it's always haunting me that I should be working. It's always haunting me that there's a version of me out there that's working more than I am. And that's not normal. So that's the first downside that I've noticed after implementing self-improvement in my life. I guess you could say that. Now, the second downside is kind of on the same note as the first one, which is that no matter how hard I work, it's never enough. So once again, I will give you an example. This one day, there's days where I get home and I feel tired, just like the day I told you. And I will want to rest, and I will feel guilty for resting. But then there's days where it's the exact opposite. I will get home and I won't be tired, and I will still be pissed at myself for not being tired, because once again, that little voice in my head, whether it's an angel or a devil, she will tell me you didn't work hard enough, because if you had worked harder, you would be tired. So it's just this paradox of, if I'm tired, then I'll feel guilty for resting, and if I'm not tired, I will feel guilty for not having worked hard enough. And I'm honestly kind of done with it. And the reason I say that it's hard is because it gets to a point where I'm afraid of resting, because I know that if I take a day off of training, right? If I skip a gym session, then I will want to skip 2 gym sessions. If I watch a movie, I will want to watch 2 movies. You get what I mean? It's never enough. You'll always want to rest more, and it's like I've lived in both of these opposites as a person. I lived as a guy who was always resting, and now I'm living as a guy who is always working. And it's hard to find a balance. And I'm sure that I'm not the only person on earth who feels this way. There's gotta be someone out there that is also going through the exact same thing that I'm going through, where you just can't find a balance between being able to work a lot, but also being able to get to the end of the day or at the end of the week and just resting for 2 hours and not feeling guilty about that. And that's just something that I haven't been able to do. So that was the second downside of that I've noticed from applying this way of life to my life. And the third and final one that I want to mention, I don't want to make this too long, is that the constant worry about the future makes me forget about the present. And that phrase is pretty self-explanatory, but essentially, because I'm always working to try and catch up to my future version, I'm always thinking about my future goals. I'm always thinking about where I will be in the next 6, 8, 12 months. You kind of forget to appreciate what you already have. And I'm always beating myself up for this. I'm always telling myself, appreciate what you have. You won't be 18 or 19 forever, you know? There's times where I think back to when I was 15 and I miss being in school, miss being in class. But I know that when I was 15, I was tired of that. I was tired of being in that classroom because I was just like, that was my everyday life. Yet now I miss it. And it's kind of funny how every time I look at the past, I always see things in a positive light. However, when I was living through that moment, it didn't seem that pleasant. So that's what I'm trying to say. I lived through school, middle school, high school. Now I miss it. Yet at the time, it was boring. Now I'm in college. And for me, it's kind of boring to be in class. But I know that once I'm 26, 36, if I get there, I will think back to these days where I was 19 and I was just making videos in my bedroom, and I will think, man, I miss those days. So, yeah, the constant worry about the future can easily take away the pleasure from living in the present. And it's something that I want to improve, it's something that I struggle to improve. All 3 of these points that I listed out are things that I'm currently struggling with. And yeah, I just hope there's someone out there that can relate to this. But that's everything that I wanted to say. As I said in the beginning, you may completely agree, completely disagree, but that's fine. I hope you got something out of the video. As always, I love you, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.